All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Race number 1. Giancarlo and Adam Barker have the front row. Simon Zierk and Rudolf Gunther on the second row. Andrew Lau and Yannick Gunther have the third row. Ryan McDaniel and Max Gunther on the fourth row. Mike Marshall, Dylan Steinbach round out your top 10. Mike Dolling starting in 11th with newcomer Byron Debelow in 12th. Ben Rao starting in 13th. Nicole, that's what she said. Creasel in 14th. Brian Hewitt rounding out the 15-car field. Everybody getting gridded, taking a little bit longer. It looks like we're getting a lot of drivers switching to wet tires for the start of this one. There you can see the rain dropping on the Porsche of Ryan McDaniel. Gotta say, I'm a little giddy about this one. First time we've had a race in the rain here. Having done some testing in the rain, I can tell you the braking distances are going to be a lot longer, even on wet tires. And that is going to play a huge factor into that first chicane. As all the drivers have taken to the grid, the pace car begins rolling. The first time this league has ever raced in the rain. Top back on board in the Porsche of Ryan McDaniel. You can see the spray coming off the wipers at full pace. It is going to get slippery out here. However, it has managed to keep the track temperature down, currently 60 degrees. I have a sneaking suspicion that first chicane, which is always an interesting part of this track anyway, on the start of the race, I have a sneaking suspicion things are going to get even more interesting today. Here we go, pace car drops in, Giancarlo in control of the start. And they have fired, they are away, green flag is in the air at Monza. And let's see what happens in the rain going into that first chicane here at Monza. Things are about to get interesting very quickly. 3 wide, there's some gutsy moves coming in. The 2 Conliff Racing Ferraris just shot the outside. Ryan McDaniel gets left in the dust. Down into that second chicane they come. Everybody managing to survive. Rudolf Gunther moving up into 4th. So far, everybody managing to stay on track. Ryan McDaniel has had a problem back behind. Team Gunther also in full effect this morning, led by Rudolf Gunther, Yannick, and Max, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Mike Dolling had a problem, went off track a moment ago. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of off tracks today. Giancarlo out front in the Ford. That car has problems turning. That car actually has a sign on it that says, "I stop for every corner." He said his braking distances, his turning radius, everything about that car was bad. Then you add the rain, it likely got worse. Plus, it is a Ford. Back down the front straightaway to complete the first lap, and surprisingly, everybody made it through the first chicane the first time. Big braking into the chicane this time. Oh, almost a little contact between Lau and Gunther. Everybody makes it through clean. Let's take a look really quickly at the start of this race. As everybody headed down into the turn, we saw this situation where they went 3 wide into the first chicane in the rain. That was a gutsy move. Ryan McDaniel obviously getting a slowdown penalty on that. Then a few moments later, the Porsches were struggling in the rain this morning. Ryan goes wide, Dowling. Mike Dowling also having some problems on the first lap in the rain, just overshooting. And it looks like a series of unfortunate events in the last few seconds. Dylan Steinbach, Mike Marshall, Nicole, and Ryan all involved. Let's take a look. Dylan Steinbach shooting to the inside in the McLaren. Looked like he might have gotten some of those rumble strips, which are worse than usual due to the rain. Mike Marshall, same corner, just slides it through off into the grass. Ryan McDaniel managing to sneak by that, but into the next right-hander, the sharper one, just overshoots, and you see Nicole go wide right behind. A wild start to this one here in the rain. Mike Dowling just set the fastest lap so far. Giancarlo still out front over Adam Barker, then Yannick Gunther now up to third. Max up 4 spots into fourth. Simon Zierk back to 5th, Rudolph Gunther in 6th, Lau in 7th, Mike Dowling in 8th. Looking inside Mike Dowling's car, right on Lau's bumper, you see the spray coming up, plus the rain coming down. And you gotta hand it to iRacing. When they model the rain, they did an amazing job with this. Dowling coming to pit road. We may be seeing our first tire change. Some of these drivers did start on dry. Holy cow, Giancarlo squirrely through that first chicane. Some of the drivers appear to have started on dries. And I imagine we will see some off-track penalties here this morning as well. Definitely going to be an interesting morning. A lot of new factors out on track today with the rain, new drivers. Dylan Steinbach. Oh, that McLaren. Surprised to see it bobbling as much. The McLaren is the lightest car out here. Of course, that may play a factor in it. You'd think it'd be a little bit more maneuverable, but that is not the case as Simon Zierk has had a problem. Oh, Simon around right in front of Steinbach. Close call there. There's Simon right in front of Rudolph Gunther. Just clips the rumble strips and oh! That track marshal had a close call there. Simon gets it backed up. Everybody gets by safely. We also have a Lambo back in the field this morning. Ben Rao choosing the Lamborghini. It has been a while. I do believe it's the first, let me double check, but I believe it's the first time. No, we saw Xander in the Lambo back at Watkins Glen. So only the second time we have seen a Lambo here this season. And Nicole Kriesel has had a problem, as has Yannick and Max Gunther. There is Nicole. Oh, just on power, the back end snaps around. Yannick Gunther, Max Gunther side by side, and just a little brotherly love out of that turn. They both go sideways. Both drivers do manage to recover and keep rolling. Hey, good morning, Tina. How are you? Adam Barker still able to stay right on Giancarlo's back bumper. Andrew Lau has lost a lot of ground. He is in third, but almost 10 seconds back. Rudolph Gunther, Max Gunther, and Yannick Gunther closing the gap. And it looks like Yannick is coming in. This is likely also a tire change. Doing great this morning. Surprised we saw any drivers, as it looks like we saw one of the Gunthers miss that first chicane. The rain definitely playing a big factor here in this race. Rudolph Gunther now leading Team Gunther up into fourth. Max in fifth. Steinbach up 4 spots into sixth. The rookie here this morning, Byron Debelo, currently up 5 spots into seventh. Byron really on the move. Brian Hewitt also on the attack. Brian up 5 spots now into the top 10. Did hear from some of the drivers that the Porsche, it really struggles here in the rain. Wet tires, dry tires, hasn't mattered. The Porsche really struggles in the rain. And what a pass by Ryan McDaniel to move into the top 10. That was a gutsy move. Take another look at this pass. Ryan on the attack. Shoots to the left. Headed down into that left-hander. A very, very close call. There might have even been a little bit of contact there. But Ryan moves into the top 10. A very close but great pass. Giancarlo, meanwhile, out front. Has a little breathing room between him and Adam Barker. Lau in third, unable to gain any ground. Team Gunther, though, on the attack, led by Rudolph. Max looks to the inside, headed into the next turn. Max has the run into the turn, overtaking his dad, and takes fourth. Simon Zierk was the fastest in practice, but got off to a rough start here in race 1. Yannick Gunther was also very fast early on, but did have that stop changed to wets and is now trying to gain some ground. And Dylan Steinbach is, Ben Rail went off track in the Lambo, and Dylan Steinbach has had a problem back behind. Oh, Dylan just sends it a little bit too deep, drifts it through, throwing up a little bit of spray. Manages to quickly get that McLaren turned around and going, but not before losing a couple of spots. Now we will be showing it because this is our first time getting to do a broadcast in the rain. Obviously, it is a big deal. This is GT3 NSS's first ever rain race. There is a possibility race 2 will be in the dry or could be a mix of rain and dry. Let's hop on board with Mike Dalling, the Minister of Defense, and see what the rain, not terribly heavy at the moment, but the track extraordinarily slick as he comes out of the chicane. And have noticed a lot of drivers making an effort to jump out of the spray. A little bit of sliding there through the turn. Giancarlo has had to deal with very, very little of it as he comes back down the front straightaway toward the first chicane. He has kept that Ford out front all morning long. And by some miracle, the Ford is not spontaneously combusted. Adam Barker in the Ferrari in second. It is a Ferrari-dominated field. 7 Ferraris and 5 Porsches here this morning. Max Gunther leads the Porsches in 4th with Rudolf Gunther in 5th. Yannick Gunther in 9th, Ryan McDaniel in 10th, also in Porsches. You see the field really kind of spread out as they set up for turn 1. Everybody trying to stay out of the spray so they can see their braking points. Andrew Lau now has Max Gunther right on the bumper. Riding along inside Max's car from his roll bar camera. And a lot of sliding coming out of there. Pushing it as they head down toward the Parabolica. We've seen several cars have problems through here this morning already. I can tell you all the drivers were both excited and apprehensive about racing in the rain this morning, but it is not disappointed. It is definitely going to be an interesting one to see in race number 2 once the top 7 invert. As Simon Zierk, who was fastest in practice, comes down the front straightaway. Giancarlo still out front. Adam Barker has pulled right back up to the bumper. Does the Ferrari have anything left? The Ferrari staying tucked up behind the Ford at the moment. But the Ford of Giancarlo, having the advantage of clean air, has been unable to be passed here today. And out of the final turn, can Giancarlo hold him off? He will get it done. Giancarlo will win race 1 in the rain and slides it across the finish line. Adam Barker bringing it home in 2nd, and Andrew Lau comes home in 3rd, barely. Let's talk to our top 3 and get some insights. This has been something new for all of them. Andrew, first off, congratulations, 3rd place. In the first ever NSS race, rain race.
Yeah, I mean, we just let everyone else crash in front. I think Max and Yannick got into it and Simon spun out and kept it on track at least.
Yeah, that was a plus. Obviously, in the early going, you guys finally got the rhythm down, but in the early going, there was a lot of sliding around out there. Did you start on wets, or did you... were you on dries for this one?
No, I started on wets because we saw the radar. It looks like it's going to get heavier. But it did take a little while for us to get used to the transition. It was still starting to rain.
Now, as we went on, we were watching throughout the race, and fortunately, you stayed clear for the most part of a lot of the, we saw quite a bit of spray having an impact on some drivers. Being out of the spray here, although you lost that ground early on, being out of the spray definitely made a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, being able to see where you're going helps a lot.
It definitely does. Well, man, a great job holding on to it. A great podium finish. Congratulations.
Thank you, Doug.
Andrew Lau coming home in third. Adam Barker comes home in second. Adam, your first time in the rain here at Monza, the first time the league has been here in the rain. How was it?
That was a very interesting race. That it was. There was a lot less grip than we thought we'd have. It's going to get more interesting because the rain's going to get even harder. So, it was hard to follow Giancarlo, spotting marks and everything in the spray is really hard. I had one go at him, and then I let him. I didn't take the dive, and I should have, and I think I might have been able to clear away. But it's a really hard track to do with this little grip.
It definitely appears so. Normally we'd be looking at these track temperatures as they've dropped since practice down to 60 degrees, and you'd think, well, we're going to have a lot more grip, but it just in the rain, it's just a whole nother ball of wax. I have to say, watching in this slipstream, that spray was a huge impact, and of course the slick track, we saw both of you bobbling throughout the race, especially into the first chicane.
It is just like you said, it is a different game here. So it's trying to be smooth, consistent, trying to keep it out of the big puddles, which are developing as we're on track. So it's evolving as we go along, and trying to overtake someone here is going to be really interesting. Just you can't just send it down the inside and hopefully the car will stick, because you're going to slide off.
Oh, we did start to see a very minimal puddling in race one, but obviously here in warm-up, a lot more, man. You guys are in for one heck of a fight and one hell of a show, man. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Adam Barker coming home in second, but Giancarlo gets the win in the first ever NSS rain race. Giancarlo, you win for the first ever race in the rain for GT3 NSS. How does it feel?
It was stressful, and it's getting even more stressful in the rain right now in this practice. But yeah, I mean, feels good, of course. But we'll see how the second race goes.
I have to say, man, we watched that race, and obviously everybody bobbling, but a lot more folks out right now in warm-up. Is this, as you go through that first chicane, are you just trying to figure out where the puddles are going to be? We saw very minimal puddling in race one, but here in warm-up, man, we're seeing a lot.
That's exactly what I'm, perfectly describes what I'm doing. The puddles were just barely starting to form at the end of last race, and now it's really, if you touch a puddle, that's the end of it. So it's really important to know where they are, and if you can, jump over them through a curb, just stay away from them at all costs.
I have to say, we noticed early on in the first race that the rumble strips were extraordinarily slick. They're always a little iffy at some tracks. In Monza, they're definitely a little bit iffy, but with it being wet here, and we know the paint definitely has a bigger effect with the wet. I saw you just in this lap touching those rumble strips a little bit. How bad is it? Is it just like driving on ice? Is there any grip down there?
Not really. You really got to stay off of pretty much all of them. I think I'm most scared about in turn one, the pit exit line comes right into the middle of the track. And so I'm pretty sure if you touch that, you just die. So hopefully we will not be touching that.
Now, the track temperature and the air temperature have come down throughout the morning. And honestly, we expected that Ford to spontaneously combust. You definitely painted it the right color for it. But you did mention in practice that thing just does not want to turn, even in the dry. So how is the wet helping it turn?
Not really. I think it's mostly, it has straight line speed, which is, at Monza, that's what matters. So that's all it's got going for it. Oh, yep. See, I touched that line, and then
it bobbles.
So, yep.
It's
never touched that line.
It's definitely going to be interesting, man. Great win in the first rain race, and good luck in race 2. It sounds like it's about to get a whole lot wetter.
Thanks, Doug.
Well, here we go. On to race 2. Folks, this is exciting. Make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe. Most importantly, hit that share button, guys. Man, it really helps us out a whole lot, and you're not going to want to miss this. All right, top 7 invert. Here we go. Race number 2. Yannick Gunther and the rookie Byron Debelow on the front row. Rudolph Gunther, Max Gunther on the second row. Andrew Lau and Adam Barker have the third row. Giancarlo, after winning, will start in 7th next to Steinbach in 8th. Simon Zierk and Mike Doling round out your top 10. Ryan McDaniel starting in 11th next to Brian Hewitt in 12th. Mike Marshall in 13th. Ben Rao in 14th. And Nicole, that's what she said, Kriesel in 15th. Interesting to note, Ryan McDaniel was actually on the attack. One of his best road races to date. As it looks like the rain is picking up. We heard the drivers talking about it. Looking from inside Max Gunther's car. And yep, rain is definitely picking up. We saw puddling throughout warm-up. So something, man, it's about to get really interesting. The puddles likely going to have a huge effect here in race 2. Pace car is rolling. Track temperature is held at 60 degrees all morning long and continues to do so. 64% humidity. Well, yeah. And as you heard the driver say, radar showing a lot more rain, seeing a lot of puddling out here. Puddling had very minimal effect in race 1. We were just starting to see the puddles forming at the end, but now, if you look at the sides of the track and certain places in the middle of the track, pay close attention, you're going to see a lot of them. Plus, as we heard Giancarlo mention, the paint is just like driving on ice, so the driver's not going to be able to use the rumble strips. Hey, good morning, Pat. Out of the Parabolica, down the front straightaway, Porsche pace car about to hit pit road. Pace car is in. Yannick Gunther in control. He fires. They are away. Green flag is in the air, and here we go into the first chicane in the rain. Yannick clears into it. A lot of side-by-side on entry, but everybody makes their braking points. Nicole a little bit wide, but everybody makes it through the first chicane, and now they come up to speed, headed toward the second chicane, not apexing that turn because the puddle's down in it. We've got puddling in the chicane as well. You gotta hand it to iRacing. It's taken them a while to get the rain in here, but by golly, they got it right as Dylan Steinbach went off in the second chicane. Nicole Kriesel goes through, misses it. Steinbach is still rolling in 7th place. In the lone McLaren in the field. Ben Rao also in the Lambo. Looks like Ben did not take the grid, nor did the rookie Byron Debelow. Yannick Gunther out front, followed by Max Gunther, Adam Barker, Rudolph Gunther, and Andrew Lau. Team Gunther all in the top 5 at the... Oh, Adam Barker! problem for Adam Barker. He has towed to pit road, will get through the first lap, then go back and look at some of the incidents here early. Adam came into this morning second in points, did not need that. Yannick Gunther, Dylan Steinbach is going into pit road here. Did Dylan start on dry tire? Surely not. Andrew Lau having a problem in turn one as well. Let's see what happened on lap one. Here's Dylan Steinbach in the McLaren, just gets on the oh! He had his left sides on those rumble strips. They were wet and like ice. We also saw Nicole Kriesel having some problems here in the early going as well. On the brakes, the car just slides it. And then, of course, Adam Barker, he just gets off of the corner exit, gets into the rumble strips, and it sends him around. Yannick Gunther still out front. Andrew Lau, Brian Hewitt have both had problems and have both gone to pit road. Let's see what has happened. Rain definitely playing a huge factor here today. Andrew Lau, as he heads off, just gets that slick paint from the pit road exit and comes to a stop. Brian Hewitt not far behind. Oh, also that pit road line, exit line. We heard Giancarlo talking about that earlier. That white line, that little bit of paint is like ice. Nicole gets some of the puddle on the left. That's one way of taking the first chicane. Ryan McDaniel is now at a problem as well as the rain and puddling gets worse. We're seeing a much more dramatic effect out on track. There's Ryan headed down toward the first turn. Oh, he just clips that pit road exit line. But that little strip of white paint is like ice when it gets wet, and wow. We've already seen 3 or 4 cars succumb to that pit road exit line here in race 2. That little strip of white paint, once it got wet, became like a sheet of ice for these high-powered cars as Andrew Lau is on his way back out. Ryan McDaniel, Brian Hewitt, both still on pit road. Adam Barker also back out on track. Nicole Kriesel keeping that car headed the right way, now up into 9th. Dylan Steinbach, heavy damage to the McLaren. Currently running in 8th. Mike Marshall in 7th. Simon Zierk in 6th. Mike Dolan currently in 5th. Max Gunther in second, just set the fastest lap of the race so far. Oh, Yannick a little slow out of the second chicane. Max going on the attack. Max still unable to get past Yannick at the moment. Rudolf Gunther now into third. Team Gunther 1, 2, 3. Giancarlo now in fourth and Dolling in fifth. Max Gunther still staying right in his brother's slipstream. Let's take another look. You can see Max definitely trying to move out of that line, but now down the front straightaway, and we've seen that pit road exit line, the effect it's having, he can't even tell where it is. It's guesswork at this point. Already out of the throttle, straddling that white line, but gets it slowed down into the chicane. And out of the chicane, holding on to it. Man, the rain playing a huge factor today. We saw a moment ago, Dylan Steinbach is missing a lot of that car. Let's see what happened. Oh, out of the second chicane, rumble strip, hard hit. The rumble strip's just as slick as that pit road exit line. Gets the car turned around and going, but now has to limp it till his fuel stop. And one driver has managed to keep her car clean and out of trouble so far. Nicole, that's what she said. Creasel now up into ninth. Nicole on the attack this morning. Team Gunther still 1, 2, 3, although Rudolf Gunther back behind by about 8 seconds as Giancarlo closing in. Mike Dolling in 5th. Ryan McDaniel now back out on track in 12th. Andrew Lau also back out in 11th. Adam Barker back out in 10th. Minutes into race 2, and everything has been flipped upside down. What the drivers learned in race 1, obviously having given them a little bit of help, but we saw more drivers out in warm-up than ever as they were trying to discover the locations of the puddles. And the puddles, as we have seen, having a big effect as Dylan Steinbach has had a problem. Dylan in that McLaren already had issues a couple of times, but gets the rumble strip on exit. It's slick as snot. Gathers it up and gets it going the right way, but lost a lot of ground. Adam Barker trying to reclaim some ground, is closing in on Nicole. That's what she said. Oh, Nicole has had a problem. She has gone to pit road. Nicole headed down toward the first chicane. Oh, she got into one of the puddles as she was braking, just overshoots entry. Yannick Gunther, Max Gunther, the top two on a breakaway. 8.4 seconds ahead of Rudolph in third. Giancarlo in fourth, trying to close the gap on Rudolph. Mike Dolling in fifth. Simon Zierk in sixth with Mike Marshall in seventh. Mike up 6 spots, just keeping that Conliff racing car out of trouble. Dylan Steinbach currently running in 8th. Adam Barker in 9th with Lau in 10th. Ryan McDaniel now up into 11th. Brian Hewitt back in 12th. Nicole on pit road in 13th. A heartbreak for Nicole. She had fought her way up to 9th. Oh! Max through the dirt. Dylan Steinbach has had another problem. Dylan in the McLaren headed off toward turn 1. Oh, he just barely clips that pit road exit line. Overshoots the chicane completely and has to come to a stop. That pit road exit line has already impacted half the field here this morning. You see Max Gunther carefully straddling it. And it looks as if Dylan may have had another problem. The McLaren, oh, just clips a little bit of the, looked like he might have clipped a little bit of a paint strip or a rumble strip, goes around through the dirt, quickly gets the car turned around and recovered, but did lose a position. I am seeing at certain parts of the track a little bit of sunlight. Could we see the rain let up the track start to dry? And if that is the case, we could potentially see a lot of cars head to pit road for tire changes if the track starts to dry out. Simon Zierk has had a problem. There's Simon in the Ferrari headed toward turn 1. Oh, just clips that paint once again. Ends up missing the first chicane, but gets her rolling again. Hey, good morning, Russell. How are you, buddy? Nicole Kriesel is rolling back out on track. Yannick still out front with a gap now on Max. Rudolph Gunther in third. Still has Giancarlo inching closer. Mike Dalling back in fifth. Simon Zierk in sixth. Mike Marshall still holds on to seventh. Adam Barker now up into eighth. Dylan Steinbach driving half a car, half a McLaren in ninth. Andrew Lau currently in 10th. Ryan McDaniel sits in 11th with Brian Hewitt in 12th at the moment. And Steinbach's problems continue. Dylan only has about half a car, gets on the power, the back end just steps out. Fortunately keeps it out of the wall. A very close call as you see from the tire tracks there, but no additional damage. Gets it rolling once again. And somebody just went off in turn one. I do believe it was Dylan Steinbach again. There you see him, and he's straddling the law. He gets the paint on the pit road exit. Hard hit. That one will send him to pit road. That pit road exit line paint has been brutal this morning. Yannick Gunther out front, followed by Max Gunther. Rudolph still holds on to third. Giancarlo in fourth, not gaining any ground at the moment. Mike Dalling sitting in fifth. Simon Zierk sixth. Mike Marshall in seventh, but Adam Barker on the attack. Barker got the better run out of the Parabolica down toward turn one. Adam right there. Oh! Adam clips a little bit of that pit road line, but keeps it gathered up and makes it into the first chicane to take 7. Mike Marshall now back to 8th. Andrew Lau currently runs in 9th. Ryan McDaniel back into the top 10. Max Gunther in second place, just set the fastest lap so far. Yannick Gunther out front, though, has a 2 1/4 second gap at the moment over his brother. Rudolph still holds on to third. Could we see another podium that is all Gunther here this morning? As Rudolph has problems through the second chicane, Giancarlo closed way up. Simon Zierk back in 6th, lost some ground in the early going. Now trying to make up ground He is about 16 seconds behind Mike Dolling at the moment. Adam Barker had problems and ended up towing to pit road in the early going as he comes out of the Parabolica down the front straightaway. Currently in 7th, trying to close the gap on Zier. Yannick Gunther started this race from the pole, has been out front. That clean air and no spray ahead has definitely had an impact. You can really tell iRacing went all out. They have done an amazing job with the rain here. In car with Giancarlo, you can see the impact the spray is having. Giancarlo moving out of the spray just to get a little bit better view as they head into the second chicane. Trying to attack on Rudolph, may actually get it on exit. And Giancarlo makes the move into 3rd, a little bobble out of the turn, but holds on to it. But it may have been enough to open the door for Rudolph. Giancarlo did mention that Ford does not want to turn in the dry. The only advantage it has is the straight line speed, and that is where the Porsche is the weakest. Oh, we saw Mike Dolling coming out of that turn behind him, noticing the drivers are definitely not using all of the track that they have available here this morning. Especially on corner exit due to the puddling on the outside. Hey, good morning, JR. How are you, buddy? Yannick Gunther still has the lead. Max has set another fast lap, but still 1.25 seconds out. Giancarlo back in 3rd, about 9 seconds back. Still has Rudolph Gunther right behind him. Mike Dolling. Man, everybody is having a hard time putting the power down out of these chicanes this morning. Watch as Simon Zierk comes out, and you see the back end just wants to keep going. He tames it, but I'm surprised we will have to ask the drivers how much traction control they were using. Adam Barker now in 7th as Andrew Lau in 8th, right on his bumper. Mike Marshall has gone back to 9th. Ryan McDaniel still holding on in the top 10. Ryan McDaniel currently running in 10th. Finished race number 1 in 11th. Got his top 5 Wednesday night with Nowski. Could the bad luck streak be over for Ryan? Adam Barker is in. This is the first scheduled pit stop. Max Gunther is headed in as well. Yannick Gunther continuing to stay out. The points leader trying to stretch as far as possible. And they are swapping out tires, or they are getting fresh tires rather. I'm guessing everybody is staying on the wet tires here. Max is on his way out, but Yannick way out front. Giancarlo now into second. Rudolph Gunther has third, Dalling now to fourth, Zierk in fifth. Giancarlo about 7.6 seconds back from the leader. Rudolph Gunther in third. Max Gunther having completed his stop back in sixth place. The top five have not pitted yet. But it looks like that is going to start now. Yannick is on pit road. Giancarlo is staying out. He will continue to extend. Rudolph Gunther also staying out. Mike Dalling choosing to stay out here as well. Simon Zierk is going to continue to extend as well. Max Gunther has got to make up a lot of ground here while pit stops are underway. And Giancarlo just set the fastest lap so far. There were concerns about the Porsches in the rain this morning. A lot of the drivers saying it was the worst car in the rain. However, as we have seen all morning long, it may be the best. Max Gunther trying to reel in Yannick Gunther now. Max only 2.7 seconds back. Both drivers having completed their stops. And I'm willing to bet all the drivers are going to be worn out after this one. Giancarlo continues to stretch that fuel window. Rudolph Gunther is going to give up second. He is on his way in. Mike Dalling also going to continue to stay out here. Simon Zierk heads to pit road. And let's watch. Adam Barker has had a problem back behind. We'll take a look in a moment, but let's take a look at the Porsche of Yannick Gunther as he comes into the first chicane. Yeah, the Porsche does seem to be able to put the power down a little bit better. Coming out of those chicanes, having that rear-mounted engine is paying off in the rain. Adam has gone to pit road. Let's see what happened. Adam headed down toward the first chicane. He clips the white paint. He clipped that pit road exit paint as we have seen all morning. You hit that little strip of paint, you're going for a ride. Adam was trying to make up some ground. Giancarlo, Mike Doling have not been to pit. Giancarlo coming in. Mike Doling has not been in. Mike Marshall has not been in. Andrew Lau has not been in since lap 2. Doling is headed in. Hey, Nicole. Gotta hand it to Nicole. That's what she said. Creasel this morning. She had one heck of a run. As the top 3 are back together, nose to tail, Giancarlo back out. Giancarlo, Yannick Gunther, Max Gunther, 1, 2, 3 at the moment, all nose to tail. Pit stops completed. Riding along with Max Gunther into the second chicane. Right behind Yannick and Giancarlo, the spray everywhere. Trying to avoid the rumble strips, the paint, the puddles. It completely changes the track once the rain starts. Oh, Nicole, that is heartbreaking. Apparently the issue we saw earlier, iRacing froze up with Nicole running in the top 10. A heartbreak indeed this morning for Nicole after a great first race. And in the second race, she was moving her way through the field. Mike Marshall is on pit road. Andrew Lau just set the fastest lap. Giancarlo definitely slow through the corner. He has to hope that the straightaway speed of that Ford can make up the difference because the Gunthers are going to stay right in his slipstream. No, they are going side by side. Are they going to battle it into the chicane? They are not. Well, Nicole, I have to say, you need to race in the rain more because you were awesome. Ryan McDaniel has had a problem. Ryan closing the gap back on Brian Hewitt. Just overshoots his braking point through the dirt and lost all the ground. Gets it going again, but a big loss. Yannick Gunther currently in second. Max Gunther currently in third. Still trying to reel in Giancarlo. Rudolph Gunther back in fourth. Still a shot at a Gunther 1-2-3 if Giancarlo has any problems here this morning. The driver's being extremely careful with that. Oh! Max slides it through. Quickly saves it, gets it going again. Did he get the pit road exit line? It looks like he did cross over that pit road exit line, and wow, hard hit to the outside wall, slides it into the chicane. Then, just a few moments later, looks like something was horribly wrong with the car. He tows it to pit road. Mike Marshall and Ryan McDaniel have both had a problem. There's Mike Marshall headed down toward the first chicane. Just gets the turn in completely wrong. Shoots it through the first chicane. Has to give up the time. Ryan McDaniel headed down into the left-hander. Just a bit wide. And has to slow down a lot to avoid those puddles. But keeps it gathered up. Max Gunther is still sitting on pit road. Brian Hewitt is back out on track. Andrew Lau has also completed his stop and back out on track. Giancarlo in the lead. Yannick in second. Rudolph Gunther in third. Mike Dolling currently in fourth. And Simon Zierk in fifth. Andrew Lau currently in sixth. Mike Marshall in seventh. Ryan McDaniel now up into eighth. Brian Hewitt back in ninth. Adam Barker, Nicole Kriesel, Dylan Steinbach out of the race early. The rain took a big, big toll today. It has been a wild morning here at Monza. Attrition has been a huge, huge factor as the leaders are about to be into lap traffic. 7th place, Andrew Lau just ahead. Brian Hewitt in 10th, right in front of Giancarlo. How much of a factor will the lap traffic play into the finish of this race? Oh, close call into the second chicane. Ryan McDaniel trying to keep that Porsche pointed the right way. Obviously has some damage to the car. Max Gunther back in 6th place, trying to pull back up to the rest of his team after problems. Yannick still holding on to 2nd, Rudolph in 3rd, Mike Dolling back in 4th. Mike Marshall has also been marching his way through the field, and Marshall, one of the few drivers not having any significant, he's had a few off tracks, but no significant problems this morning. Giancarlo's lead, though, continuing to grow over Yannick Gunther, now 5 1/4 seconds. Rudolph Gunther in 3rd, about 12.4 seconds back. Mike Dolling, 7.7 seconds back in 4th. Simon Zierk in 5th, almost 18 seconds back from Dolling. Max Gunther currently sitting in 6th. Andrew Lau in 7th. Lau is the last car on the lead lap. And Giancarlo is closing in on him. The field really starting to spread out as Max Gunther just set the fastest lap of the morning. The rain has not let up. We saw the sun peek out a few times. Thought we might be getting a chance of the track drying out. That has not been the case. So they will finish the race in the rain. Riding along inside Yannick's car as he goes into the second chicane, and you can see all the puddling and the amazing work that iRacing has done with this rain model. It has meant a huge, huge change to the track from when they practiced in the dry the track a whole different animal now with puddles and slick paint. It has completely changed the way the drivers have to attack certain parts of the track, and they do not have as much runoff, especially right through here. You don't see them using all the runoff. A little bit of sunlight as they head down toward the Parabolica. And watch as we come up on the pit road exit line, how careful these guys are going to be. Perfectly splitting that line, knowing touching that line is fatal. It has been all morning long. Brian Hewitt currently running in 10th. He has stuck it out all morning long. Has had multiple issues. Stayed in the fight though. Great run. Has got him sitting up in the top 10. As the sun has come out. All around the track. Giancarlo should be seeing the white flag this time. So the track likely not going to get dried out on the last lap. Actually, it'd be impossible, but man. Hopefully before the season is out, we get to see that happen. A full dry to rain and back to dry transition. Andrew Lau sliding aside to let the leader by. Max Gunther, after his issues earlier, has been back on the attack in 6th place. He has actually gained quite a bit of time on Simon Zierk in 5th, but is still 54.5 seconds back. But for the last 4 or 5 laps, Max has been the fastest car on track. Does seem like Max appears to have found a little bit more grip through some of these turns. He is slinging that Porsche around a lot more than we have seen anybody else push their car. And once again sets the fastest lap. But across the line, out of the final turn, Giancarlo will do it. He is going to sweep at Monza in the first ever rain race for GT3 NSS. Yannick will come home in second. Rudolf Gunther finishes third. And let's talk to our top three, starting with Rudolph. Rudolph, that was a great morning, especially considering the weather.
Absolutely.
You guys definitely had your hands full all morning long, but Team Gunther, man, you guys were on fire. The Porsche looked like it just was unbeatable in the rain.
Yeah, it was really great driving, but I had nothing for Giancarlo in the Ford.
Well, let's not talk about Fords.
Yeah, it was great, and it was too bad that Max. I don't know what happened, but he was much faster than me, and I think he just missed the curve or something, and so I got my chance.
Well, you've definitely capitalized on those chances all season. Still the top three in points, and great job so far, man.
Thank you very much, Doug. It was really fun today.
It definitely looked like it. Great job.
Thank you.
Rudolf Gunther coming home in third. Yannick Gunther comes home in second. Yannick, you come home in second, leading Team Gunther, and yeah, are you still the cool one?
Well, I guess they have to pick a new nickname for me now.
Still a great morning. You guys were talking before the race that the Porsche, you were not very confident in the rain, but it seemed to be the car to beat in the rain.
It was. It turned out that in all of the corners, the Porsche actually was quicker than I think any other car. The rain actually suited the Porsche, or the Porsche suited the rain.
It definitely did, and man, you were out there, you and Max both. There were times you guys were alternating fast laps this morning. It was really impressive.
Nice, thank you, Doug.
Well, man, great job. You're going to continue to extend your points lead here, so great win today.
Oh, nice, very nice. Thank you, Doug. Thank you. It was fun.
Yannick comes home in second, but Giancarlo pulls off the sweep. Giancarlo, you sweep the morning in the first ever rain event.
Yeah, we were. That was a lot wrestling that car. But clearly, Doug, you'll love to hear that the Ford is obviously the superior rain car.
No, I think it was the Porsche. You just got lucky.
Yeah, I think I really did just kind of get lucky with the pit stops. Being able to come out ahead after the pit stops was huge for me.
It definitely worked. It was interesting watching how much you had to slow down going into the turns versus the Porsche. But being able to get away on the straightaways, and Monza just has the straightaways that gave that Ford probably an unfair advantage. It probably needs to go through tech.
Yeah, that's potentially true. I did have the little writing on the rear bumper that I do stop for all corners. So we really made that reality this race.
You definitely did, and I have to say, there were a few points on the track where you were able to go through puddles that others were avoiding. It just didn't seem, maybe the weight or something about it just allowed it to get through there without causing too many issues.
Yeah, it's possible. To be honest, I'm still learning the Ford, but it is also much wider than most other GT3 cars. So in the rain, you kind of have to touch the dry lines and the curbs sometimes, depending on the corner. So I'm glad that I was able to make it through without spinning it.
Well, great job. Congratulations. Glad to have you back out on track, and a great sweep this morning.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
Giancarlo gets the sweep here at Monza in the rain. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget, tonight, 7:30 Eastern, BRR recruitment races begin. You're not going to want to miss out on that. If you're interested, make sure you look for the BRR recruitment races in hosted sessions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you this evening. Have a great day, everybody.